Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel. It is week 2 of the Three Rivers Pantry Challenge. We are doing it as a no spend January, February, which is becoming a little bit difficult for us because we are running out of certain things, because we have been going since last January, a year without a grocery store. So my list of things I need to purchase is gotten a little longer than I would have liked it to be. But we are managing. Today I am feeding my sourdough starters, and I'm always thinking, what can I do with the discard? Well, today I'm going to be making wraps, or tortillas as the kids call them. Tortillas to go with tonight's dinner. So if you want to see how I make my sourdough wraps, or flatbread, sometimes people call them, you can go and see my video from Friday, Flour It Up Friday. I do go and make those for Friday's dinner, and I explain exactly what I'm doing, and I also give you the recipe for them. So this is how they turned out. So for tonight's dinner, I have some leftover rice in the fridge, and then I went to my pantry and I've gotten out a jar of green salsa, a jar of black beans, and a can of chicken. So out of my leftovers and my pantry staples, I'm going to make some filling for my wraps or my tortillas. And I'm starting off with my cast iron skillet with some butter, flour, and onions. So once I have my onions sauteed in the butter and translucent, I mix in my flour and I get that all incorporated. So now that I have all that incorporated, I'm going to add the juice from the can of chicken, which I consider to be chicken broth, right in with the onions and the roux. I just start adding in the rest of my ingredients, my beans, my rice. If I wanted to add in any tomatoes or anything else, any peppers or anything else, I add it at this time. And then I just add in my chicken at the end. So that is it for dinner tonight. This is mine. I like to eat mine as a chip sort of on the side, but you can make a wrap out of it however you want to eat it. And I just put a little bit of that green salsa on the top, and it was delicious. So for tonight's dinner, I am going to make a pasta dish. I have here some of my ground pork that I canned up. I have quite a bit because I did a little bit of freezer baking last year. I have a can of diced tomatoes, also from last year, trying to clean out my freezer, doing that freezer baking. So I have a can of diced tomatoes, and I also have the rest of my ingredients. I have a pasta sauce from the store-bought. I have a thing of mushrooms that I wish I could grow myself, but haven't quite gotten to that point yet. And then I have my veggies, green beans. And I am using the water off my veggies to go into my pot to boil my pasta. I'm going to try to use just one pot this time and get everything done that way. So the water's boiling, in goes my salt, and then in goes I usually use about 3 cups of pasta to feed my family. So in goes the 3 cups of pasta. So a little tip or trick that I've found is if you put your wooden spoon across your pot, it won't boil over. It will try, but it won't. For some reason, it will not boil over. I've done this many a times. And those bay leaves on the top, they were just for storage, and I'll take them out at the end. So here's my pasta already drained and ready to go. So I'm going to start in that same pot with my pork, and I'm going to get that heated through first. Because basically everything is cooked, I'm just putting it together. These pint jars hold about a pound of meat, and I'm using half of that in tonight's dinner. I am going to stretch this meat with my mushrooms and make it go farther. So this is what I have left for another meal later in the week. So I'm going to get my pork warm through and break up the big clumps. And once I do that, I'm just going to start layering in my spices, my typical spices. Onion powder, garlic powder. In this, I'm going to put a little bit of Italian seasonings as well. And my secret ingredient, which I'm sure you have seen me use many a times before, some brown sugar. But that's my secret. Anytime I use a tomato product, I will put in a little bit of brown sugar, sometimes even just white sugar, just to cut the acidity of my tomatoes. Another little tip or trick, this better than bouillon, if you put a little bit into your sauce, it tastes like you've been simmering all day. I don't know what it does exactly, but that depth of flavor that it adds is awesome. And there goes my brown sugar. Can't forget the star spice of the dish, basil. This is from my garden from last year, which I just put on my dehydrator and dried, and I crumple it up as I go along because I find it's more flavorful that way, more aromatic that way. Basically, that is my sauce. So just add back in whatever pasta you're using, and yeah, like I say all the time, I wouldn't be cooking if I didn't make a mess. Now this dish here is, we make a version of this probably about maybe 3 times a month, so it's something we have freely on a regular basis. And while that is done, my veggies are in the microwave heating up, and it is time to eat. And here is our meal tonight. And I just sprinkle a little cheese over the top. So hungani or mungani or whatever my family calls it, with some green beans. So again this week I did not make any sweets. We still have so much left over from Christmas, from gifts we received. And that is it. So stay safe and keep prepping. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and click that notification bell to be notified when I upload videos.